It didn't start with a fall. It started months earlier, in the soles of her feet. But no one noticed, not even her husband. She was humming in the kitchen just hours before, watering her plants, feeding the neighbor's cat, walking up and down the stoop like any other morning in Brooklyn. By lunchtime, she was on the floor between the fridge and the sink. No warning, no dizziness, just a terrible silence. And when the EMT asked her his name, she couldn't remember. Most people think aging comes with gray hair or birthday candles, but the truth? It begins in the places we stop paying attention to: your feet, your underarms, your inner thighs, the back of your neck. Places where blood slows, nerves fade, and your independence quietly begins to slip away, long before you notice. You chalk it up to just getting older. Stiff knees, slower mornings, a little forgetfulness. But what if those are red flags? Your body's quiet cry for help. What if aging isn't just inevitable, but accelerated by the parts of you you've stopped caring for? Dr. Chen, now 92, has spent over 60 years treating aging patients from Queens to the Upper West Side, and his life's work has led to a startling discovery. Longevity doesn't come from good genes or expensive pills. It begins in the neglected places, where circulation fades and touch disappears. He calls it the vanishing zones. And once you know where they are and how to care for them, you can slow down aging in ways most doctors never mention. Because your body has been whispering all along. You just haven't been taught how to listen. Number 1. The feet, where longevity quietly begins. Luis used to dance, not on a stage or in a ballroom, but in his kitchen, under yellow light with the smell of arroz con pollo still in the air, and an old love song playing low from the radio. He'd take his wife's hand after dinner and spin her gently, just once or twice, before the dishes were done. But by the time he turned 76, the dancing stopped. Not because he didn't want to, because he was afraid. His legs felt strange, unsteady, like the floor shifted under him. Sometimes, standing up felt like stepping onto a moving boat. "There are days I feel like I'm floating," he told Dr. Chen, "and other days, like I'm already falling, but haven't landed yet." It wasn't dizziness. It wasn't vertigo. It was something quieter and harder to explain. Dr. Chen didn't reach for scans. He didn't talk about aging brains or ears. Instead, he looked down at Luis's feet. "Your feet," he said. "They're not just holding you up. They're speaking. And somewhere along the way, you stopped listening." If you're over 60, you might know that feeling. Maybe you've started gripping the banister a little tighter when walking downstairs. Maybe you sit on the edge of the bed longer before standing up, just to be sure. Maybe someone you love, your spouse, your parent, moves slower now, even though they still want to feel young. We tend to blame it on age. But Dr. Chen has spent over 60 years caring for older adults, and he's seen a pattern most people miss. When we lose connection with the ground, we begin to lose connection with ourselves. You see, the feet aren't just tools for walking. They're home to nerve endings, blood vessels, pressure points, and more. They talk to the brain, to your balance, to your heart. But for many of us, they go numb before the rest of us notices. And when that happens, you don't just feel unsteady. You start to feel unsure, not yourself. Modern science is finally catching up to what Dr. Chen has known for decades. A study from the American Geriatric Society in 2023 found that older adults who practiced simple foot care every day saw 45% better balance and were less afraid of falling, even those who had early signs of nerve damage. That's not magic. It's attention. So Dr. Chen created something simple. He called it the morning grounding ritual. Luis started it just 1 week after that visit. Every morning before brushing his teeth, he'd sit by the living room window where the sun touched the floor just right. He filled a basin with warm, not hot, water and soaked his feet for 5 minutes. Then he dried them gently and spent a few quiet minutes massaging them, thumbs moving from heel to toe, just like the rhythm he once danced to. At first, it felt silly, unnecessary, but by the second week he noticed he wasn't reaching for the furniture quite so often. By week 4, he walked with more confidence, and by week 6, his wife caught him humming again, and one Saturday, he reached out his hand. Just one spin, right there in the kitchen. This isn't about fancy treatments or miracle pills. It's about coming back to your body in the simplest way, through care, rhythm, and consistency. Dr. Chen recommends a few tools for anyone starting. A basin wide enough for both feet, a long-handled towel if your back's stiff, a natural foot cream, peppermint or eucalyptus works wonders, soft, non-slip slippers for moving around the house safely. Longevity doesn't live in the dramatic, he says. It lives in the daily, in cleaning your feet before bed, in noticing your toes in the morning. Maybe you're not Luis, but maybe your dad is. Maybe your sister. Maybe it's you, pausing a little longer before you stand, gripping the handrail tighter than you used to. If so, it might be time to listen to your feet again. They're not just the end of you, they're the beginning of every day. Number 2. The underarms, detox center of the body. It started with Helen, a retired librarian from Savannah, Georgia. At 73, she was sharp, cheerful, and meticulous, except her body kept betraying her. Every few weeks, she'd catch a cold that lingered too long. Sometimes it turns into bronchitis, other times, just a lingering fatigue that clung to her like summer humidity. I wash, I eat right, I walk, she told Dr. Chen. But something still feels stuck. He listened, then gently lifted her arm. He pressed near her armpit and said, "This is where your traffic jam begins." Most people think underarms are about odor, nothing more. However, Dr. Chen views them differently, as central stations on the immune highway. Hidden beneath the skin, the axillary lymph nodes filter lymphatic fluid, clearing toxins, bacteria, and even cellular waste. When this area is stagnant, he says, you don't just feel tired. Your body is holding on to what it should be letting go. Modern science backs him up. A 2023 study from Stanford's immunology department revealed that stimulating the underarm lymph nodes can improve lymphatic flow by up to 40%, directly boosting immune efficiency in adults over 60. That's not hygiene, that's healing. Dr. Chen designed a simple 3-step underarm care ritual, not cosmetic, but deeply functional. Step 1. Gentle cleansing. Each morning, Helen began washing her underarms with a mild, fragrance-free soap, using slow, circular motions that started from the outer edges and moved inward. This direction, Dr. Chen explained, mirrors the lymphatic flow and helps encourage drainage. Step 2. Complete drying. After rinsing, she patted the area dry with a clean towel. Moisture is a trap, Dr. Chen warned her. It invites bacteria, blocks flow, and invites infection. What seems like a small skip can cost weeks of discomfort. Step 3. Lymphatic massage. Before dressing, Helen spent 2 minutes gently massaging from her underarm up toward her collarbone using her fingertips. No oils, no pressure, just consistent, upward strokes, like coaxing a river to keep moving. Within 1 month, her energy improved. By month 2, the respiratory issues faded. She wasn't just cleaner, she was lighter. It felt like I could breathe better, she said. Not in my lungs, but in my whole body. Dr. Chen also warned her about commercial antiperspirants, especially those containing aluminum compounds. They block the very exit routes your body needs, he said. Instead, he recommended natural deodorants made with mineral salts or baking soda. Simple, ancient solutions that work with the body, not against it. Another patient, Robert, 68, a former high school coach, noticed a surprising side effect. After adopting the underarm care protocol, his chronic shoulder stiffness eased. Turns out, he said, My pain wasn't in my shoulder. It was the backup under it. Physiologically, it makes sense. The lymph nodes located under the arms are situated near major nerves, blood vessels, and muscular junctions. When the lymph stagnates, everything slows down: circulation, mobility, and even mood. Dr. Chen also emphasizes nighttime care. Before bed, cleanse again, he says. Let the skin breathe. Sleep is when your body detoxes the most. Leaving the underarms free from heavy deodorants or tight clothing gives the lymphatic system its best shot at overnight healing. For seniors, especially those living alone, this kind of care is more than physical. It's spiritual. It's reclaiming awareness of parts of the body that have long been ignored and silenced. It's saying, I still have a say in how I feel. Dr. Chen puts it plainly. You don't need a detox tea. You need to touch your body like it matters. And when you do, the body responds, not with noise or drama, but with clarity, strength, and quiet resilience. The kind of health that doesn't scream but endures. Number 3. The inner thighs, circulation's hidden pathways. Among the many patients Dr. James Chen has worked with over the years, few cases illustrate the importance of inner thigh circulation as clearly as that of Eileen Torres, a retired nature guide from upstate New York. Eileen spent over 3 decades leading school groups, tourists, and weekend hikers through trails in the Catskills and Adirondacks. She was known for her steady pace, encyclopedic knowledge of local flora, and the woven walking stick she carried everywhere like a badge of honor. Well into her late 60s, she could still climb slopes that left younger hikers short of breath. But by age 71, things began to change. She didn't feel sick, but something was off. Her legs felt unusually heavy by mid-afternoon. A short walk to the co-op or the library downtown left her winded. She noticed mild swelling that built up through the day and lingered into the evening. Sitting for too long made her legs feel stiff. Standing up made her slightly dizzy. Still, routine checkups showed no major health issues. No heart problems, no diabetes, no blood pressure red flags. What she described, slow fatigue, heaviness in the thighs, and decreased stamina, sounded familiar to Dr. Chen. He had seen the same pattern in dozens of active older adults, especially those who had spent their lives on their feet. Instead of focusing on the lower legs or circulation in the calves, he directed Eileen's attention higher, toward the inner thighs. Specifically, the path of the femoral artery and the surrounding soft tissue. He explained that this region acts as a hidden highway for blood flow, lymphatic drainage, and muscular energy. When neglected, especially with age-related stiffness or reduced mobility, circulation slows down. As a result, the body begins to feel heavy, sluggish, and unresponsive, not because of a major illness, but because the pathways are simply underused. Eileen began a simple daily protocol Dr. Chen referred to as the 3-minute circulation reset. Each morning she applied a warm, damp cloth to the inner thigh area, gently wiping in upward strokes. This wasn't meant as hygiene, it was stimulation. Then, seated in a stable wooden chair, she performed basic knee openers, slow, deliberate motions opening and closing the legs, holding each for about 10 seconds. Afterward, she used both hands to apply light pressure up the thighs, from knee to groin, to encourage blood flow and fascia release. Within 10 days, the swelling had decreased noticeably. By the end of the month, Eileen was walking farther with less fatigue, and for the first time in months, she returned to the creek trail behind her house, a short but symbolic milestone. It wasn't a summit hike. It didn't need to be. The point wasn't about performance. It was about returning to herself. Studies support her experience. A 2023 report from Johns Hopkins's Aging and Mobility Institute confirmed that increased attention to inner thigh care improved lower limb blood flow by up to 30% in seniors. The same study linked that improvement to enhanced liver function and cardiovascular resilience. Eileen's case demonstrates what many physicians overlook, that the inner thighs, while often ignored, are essential to physical vitality, especially in people who once led highly active lives. This area holds a surprising amount of influence over circulation, stability, and energy distribution. Dr. Chen often reminds his colleagues that longevity isn't built solely on lab work or prescriptions. It's rooted in how people reconnect with forgotten parts of their bodies. In Eileen's case, that meant returning to the inner pathways that once carried her through mountain trails, and now, quietly, carry her through the day with grace. 4. The back and scalp. Energy centers of the body. Frank had once been the voice of the morning news in Des Moines. For over 30 years, his baritone had greeted Iowa with headlines, weather updates, and the occasional dad joke. But now, at 78, the only voice he heard was the low throb at the base of his neck, and the silence that came with forgetting why he walked into a room. "It's like the signal doesn't make it through," he told Dr. Chen. "Like there's static in my spine." Dr. Chen didn't smile politely. He leaned in. "That static," he said, "might be coming from your back and your scalp." Frank blinked. "My scalp?" "Where your blood meets your brain, where your spine speaks to your memory. Most people think of the back and scalp as areas to wash, or where tension tends to accumulate. Few realize they are among the most neurologically and energetically rich zones of the human body, especially as we age. Dr. Chen explains, "The back is the body's electrical cord. The scalp is its transmitter." A 2023 study from UCLA's Department of Neurology found that gentle scalp massage increased cerebral blood flow by up to 28% in adults over 65. Meanwhile, research from the National Institute on Aging demonstrated that routine spinal care improved both physical mobility and short-term memory in older adults. Frank began what Dr. Chen called the 2-minute energy reset, a morning and evening ritual. Morning, waking the spine. Before getting out of bed, Frank started with 5 gentle shoulder rolls, backward and forward. Then, with hands on his hips, he twisted slowly left and right, exhaling with each turn. These movements, small but intentional, helped stimulate the spinal cord and bring oxygen to the brain. Shower. Scalp. Awakening. In the shower, he used his fingertips, never his nails, to massage his scalp in circular motions. Dr. Chen taught him to start at the forehead and move slowly toward the nape, allowing warm water to aid circulation. "This isn't about shampoo," Dr. Chen reminded me. "It's about contact, about telling your brain, I'm here." Evening. The unplugging ritual. Each night, Frank sat in his reading chair, rolled a soft bristle back brush up and down his spine in long strokes. Not harsh, not rushed. He then placed a warm compress across his shoulders and took 5 deep breaths. Inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6. Within a month, something changed. "I don't forget the coffee pot anymore," he told Dr. Chen. "And I've started humming again. Jingles from the 80s, but still." Neurologically, it made sense. The back holds tension that restricts blood flow. The scalp, when ignored, can develop tightness that subtly diminishes alertness. But when both are cared for, gently, rhythmically, respectfully, they unlock clarity. Dr. Chen recommends a long-handled back brush, a warm compress or microwavable heat wrap, a wooden scalp massager or fingertips, unscented, pH-balanced scalp cleanser for sensitive skin. But above all, he stresses, don't rush. The brain doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to rhythm. For Frank, it wasn't about becoming who he used to be. It was about feeling present again, in body, in mind, in the quiet moments between thoughts. He's not broadcasting anymore, but every morning, as he massages his scalp and rolls his shoulders, He still says out loud, "Good morning, Iowa." Not to the state, to himself. Number 5. The nape and ears. Balance and memory's last gate. Diane was a former air traffic controller from Kansas City. Calm under pressure, razor-focused, trusted with hundreds of lives every shift. She could track 5 planes at once, memorize call signs like poetry. But now, at 69, she sometimes forgets the name of her neighbor's dog. Worse, she found herself swaying slightly when she turned too fast, like her body lagged a beat behind her thoughts. "I'm sitting steady," she told Dr. Chen. "But the moment I rise, the world tilts." To most doctors, the solution might have been inner ear scans, balance training, or even medication. But Dr. Chen listened, then gently placed 2 fingers at the back of her neck. "This is where the brain meets the body," he said, pressing just below her hairline. "And your ears? They're not just for hearing. They're your gyroscope." He explained, "The nape and ears form the body's last gatekeepers for balance and short-term memory. It's here that the vestibular system, buried deep in the ear canal, connects with the brainstem through blood vessels and nerve bundles near the neck. When these areas stiffen, tighten, or lose blood flow, symptoms follow. Memory lapses, unsteadiness, even emotional swings. Science confirms it. A 2024 study from the Cleveland Clinic showed that daily massage of the nape and gentle stimulation around the ears improved spatial orientation and memory recall in seniors by up to 30%. In other words, simple care in this overlooked area helped people feel clear, centered, and safe in their bodies again. Dr. Chen taught Diane a routine called the Compass Reset, a 3-minute ritual she could do morning and night. Step 1. The nape sweep. Standing or seated upright, Diane used the pads of her fingers to gently stroke the area at the base of her skull in slow, upward motions toward the crown. Dr. Chen warned, "Don't rub like you're scrubbing dishes. Treat it like tuning a violin." Step 2. The ear circuit. Next, she traced small circles around the outer edge of each ear, using her thumb and index finger. Then, using gentle pinches along the earlobe up to the top rim, she stimulated key nerve endings. "Your ears," Dr. Chen said, "are full of tiny pressure points that light up your brain like a switchboard." Step 3. The anchor breath. Finally, Diane placed one hand lightly on the back of her neck and took 5 slow breaths, focusing on the rise and fall of the area under her palm. This anchored the ritual, connecting breath, body, and brain. Within 2 weeks, she noticed her posture had improved. By the end of the month, the subtle sway was gone. Her eyes felt sharper. She could name not just her neighbor's dog, Milo, but also his favorite treat. More than the science, it was the ownership that mattered. Diane, once in charge of skies, now felt in charge of herself again. Dr. Chen's recommendations are simple. Use a soft cotton towel warmed in the dryer to drape over the neck before massage. Choose fragrance-free oils like jojoba or almond for smoother motion. Avoid overstimulating. These areas respond to light, rhythmic contact. He says, "The nape and ears are not afterthoughts. They're command centers. You touch them right and the whole system recalibrates." Diane never returned to the tower, but each morning, after her compass reset, she stands tall in her kitchen, pours her coffee, and smiles. The ground no longer shifts beneath her feet, and in her silence, she hears clarity again. So here's the truth. Not the one we hear in ads or see in headlines, but the one our bodies whisper every single day. Aging doesn't come all at once. It comes quietly. In the moments we stop checking in the places we stop touching, in the parts of ourselves we stop believing are worth our time. And when we stop paying attention, we start letting go of things we never meant to lose. Clarity, balance, confidence, independence. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Every story you've just heard is proof, not of miracle cures, but of something more powerful. Daily care, conscious touch, choosing not to forget your body. The question now isn't, is this true? It's, are you ready to do something about it? Because if this stirred something in you, a memory, a concern, a quiet voice inside saying, I felt that too, then don't just scroll on. Don't leave it here. Comment below. What's the one part of your body you know you've been ignoring? Tag someone who needs to hear this before it's too late. Hit like so this message reaches more people like you, people who still believe in taking ownership of their health, and subscribe to our channel, because this isn't just a video. This is a movement. Your body hasn't given up on you. Now's your chance to show it. You haven't given up on it either. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying. And thank you, truly, for choosing to remember where your strength lives. We'll see you in the next one.